Well, we all know by now that Pierre Poilievre held a youth rally in downtown Toronto, and I just wanted to play another clip for you from this. It's just a few minutes long, but he's talking again about cutting income taxes, making life better and affordable for young people. And you can see here a lot of young people in the crowd. There's a big turnout too, so that was a really good sign for Pierre Poilievre and anyone with common sense. So let's have a look at this, then we're going to talk about it. Now, before we do, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps grow the channel, and I appreciate you guys so much for doing that for me. Let's have a look, and then we'll talk about it like usual.
And then you need to be able to take home the paycheck that you earned. Right now, you're spending more money on taxes than on food, clothing, and shelter combined. No good deed goes unpunished in Liberal Canada. You know, I saw this incredible meme of this man sitting with his boy in a park, and the boy was bawling his eyes out. And the boy had said in the speech bubble, he said, "Dad, what is an income tax form?" And his dad said, "Well, it's kind of like your school report card, except the opposite. The harder you work, the worse you do." Right? Income tax is the fine you pay for the crime of working hard. And you young people see it every day. You go in, you earn a paycheck, and then you do the extra hours. You get paid the overtime. And when you get that paycheck, what do you find out? That the government took the biggest bite of all. They contributed nothing to your work, and yet they get the biggest paycheck. They get the biggest part of your paycheck. Conservatives are going to cut income tax so that your hard work pays off and you bring home more of each dollar you earn.
And just think about it this way, right? So a lot of people, you make somewhere between 18 and 23 bucks an hour. You're probably paying $400 to $700 a month, depending. So even if he were to cut it, let's just say by 50%, if you're paying $700 in tax right now, that's a $350 a month raise, just like that. Right? Even if you're only paying $400, that's still a $200 a month raise. Boom. It's a lot better than markcarney's supposed tax cut that gives us $20 a month? Come on, man. That ain't nearly enough support for young people.
In fact, we will cut taxes on work, investment, home building, and energy to unlock more production and paychecks here in Canada and to strengthen our economy against any threats from abroad. But we also need to make sure that your dollar has buying power. And markcarney and the Liberals have destroyed that with inflation. Inflation is the worst tax of all. It is an immoral tax because it takes from the poorest people, especially young people. Why are young people the hardest hit by inflation? Because you've not had the time to build up inflation-proof assets that protect you against the attack on your buying power. You live off cash. The money that comes from your paycheck is the money that you use to buy things. And when every year that money buys you less, you're getting poorer despite working harder. Why does inflation happen? Too much money chasing too few goods. It's very simple. If you have an economy with 10 apples and $10, it's $1 an apple. If you double the number of dollars to 20 and you still only have 10 apples, you're not twice as rich. It's just that each apple costs twice as much. Liberals have grown our money supply from $1.8 trillion to $2.5 trillion in the last...
See, that's a great point, too, because, if you go back to the 70s when people were just making a couple bucks an hour, but they didn't have much money, but their dollar could get them a lot more than you can now, right? Gas was insanely cheaper. You could get a place for, 100 or 200 bucks to rent back in the 60s and 70s. So yeah, maybe you only made 600 bucks a month, but you only had to pay, 25 to 30% of that to pay for your rent. Where now you see places, 1-bedroom places in Burlington, Ontario for $2,000. And they make, $3,000. Or even if you make $4,000, which is supposed to be pretty damn good money, that's 50%. Most people don't make $4,000. Especially after taxes. It's insane what's happened. Inflation has gone up and up and up and up 2, 3, or more points per year at least. It's sometimes way more than that. and yet wages have been stagnant for almost 20 years. The math isn't mathing.
5 years, that's a 40% increase in the money supply, during which time the real economy has only grown by 4 or 5%. In other words, they're growing the money 10 times faster than they grow the stuff that money buys.
Right.
Great news for Brookfield, by the way. No, I'm telling you, their CEO actually says, it's on tape, the CEO of Brookfield, Mark Carney's company, which he continues to have tax-protected interests, actually said Brookfield profits off high inflation because they can raise the rent on all their tenants. So Mark Carney and the privileged liberal elite get rich off the same inflation that makes you poor. That is an ultimate conflict of interest that means that he is better off when Canadian youth are worse off. It is disgusting, actually. It is disgusting, but the good news is Conservatives are not only fighting to put an end to his profiteering, we are going to cap government spending and cut government waste, cutting bureaucracy, consultants, foreign aid, handouts to phony refugees, corporate welfare, so that we can bring down deficits, stop printing money, and bring back the purchasing power of the dollar.
Well said.
We want your paycheck to go further, and that means including in buying a house. We are the only ones with a practical plan to buy a home, to ensure you can actually own a home. And yes, you do need to own a home throughout your life in order to build up equity, secure collateral, and a credit history to eventually borrow and start a business. And to have a home, we need to build more homes. Why don't we have the homes? Bureaucratic gatekeepers stand in the way. Conservatives will incentivize municipalities to speed up permits, free up land, and cut development taxes. We will get rid of all federal taxes on home building. In fact, we will sit down with every level of government and set out a plan to eliminate all taxes on home building to bring down the cost of a new home by hundreds of thousands of dollars. We will eliminate the capital gains tax on anyone who reinvests in Canada and hires our youth. And you know, I look across and I look at the young people I see today, and so often I see a sense of hopelessness and despair. And you know, I want you to know that I see you. Conservatives see you. We see the sadness in your voice, the hopelessness on your face, those big, dark bags under your eyes as you've gone out to deliver one more Uber Eats delivery so that you can pay your rent. We as Conservatives know what you're going through, and we know that you've done everything right. We know that many of you have fallen into a life of addiction because of that hopelessness. Fentanyl has taken 50,000 lives, most of them young people. And our government gives out more and more drugs and goes softer and softer on the killers who hand out those drugs. We are going to protect our youth from drugs. To the mothers of Canada, know this: we will protect your kids from drugs. We will fight for your kids' future. I was at a treatment center just the other day in Windsor where they turned around lives, 71% success rate in getting these young men and women off drugs, and I went to meet with them. These are recent graduates or new clients at this drug treatment center. And oftentimes politicians show up at these places and say, I'm here to help. But you know something? They don't need my help. In fact, I came there to challenge them. I had a job for them. I looked at all of these young men and women who are fighting their addiction. Many of them are defeating their addiction. And I said, you have a job to do. You need to get better because Canada needs you. It needs you to go out on the street and reach down to the next person who's addicted. And you're going to drag them in here. And you're going to get them off drugs, and then they're going to go out into the street, and they're going to bring someone else in here, and we're going to get that person off drugs. And we're going to save every one of our brothers and sisters and friends and neighbors. And we're going to give them hope. That's what this country needs now more than ever. We need a country where people can get back up on their feet, where they can dream again, when they can believe that their dreams are possible. And so our message tonight is exactly the opposite of what youth heard in that somber, dystopic speech from markcarney. Our message is, you don't have to live like this. You deserve better. Canada's youth are the best and the brightest in the world, and they deserve a future to match that.
All right, I'm going to cut it off there. It was getting a little bit long, but the passion in Pierre's voice and the concerned look on his face says a lot about who he is as a person. And I know a lot of people don't trust politicians. I'm one of them. But the thing about Pierre, the reason I support him is because I believe him. If he ever does something to make me not believe it, I will not support him. He's really, in terms of Canadian politicians, who do we even have other than Pierre? We don't have anyone right now. A lot of people view him as Canada's last hope. Maybe that's not true. Maybe it is. But the way he speaks, the look in his face, you can tell he's legitimately concerned about the future of this country. And if you love this country, you should be too. And you can see it with Pierre. So that's the reason I trust him. People might say I'm naive. A lot of the PPC voters will say that. Maybe they're right. I'm willing to admit that maybe they're right. I have never trusted a Canadian politician before. So I don't know what it's like to trust someone and then get disappointed. Hopefully I'm right, and that he is trustworthy. And that when he gets to be Prime Minister, he does all these great things and helps us and restores hope and restores a good future for this country, because he has, hopefully, if he gets a majority, he would have the power with help of his cabinet and his MPs to get this job done. It's a massive job. I don't think anyone else is ready for it. Certainly not Maxime Bernier. So Pierre, if you ever see this, please know that there are a lot of people who have a lot of hope in you, and please do the right thing for our country. Put Canada first and give hope to our youth and restore a once prosperous country so that the future of this country has nothing but a positive outlook, because that's what we need.